So, welcome back to my channel. And what I'm doing is I'm making a Woolton pie. So, I've already got everything prepped. I'm just going to kind of go through the steps and I'll do another section of the video rather than actually trying to cook it for y'all. But basically, you get your potatoes, which I'm using sweet potatoes because I'm trying not to use quick carbs. So I had sweet potatoes, we hardly ever use them, so I'm using sweet potatoes. So I've got 1 pound of sweet potatoes here. I have my broccoli and my cauliflower because I had both, so I figured I would just use both. And then I have about a pound of carrots. I think it's a little, no, it was right at a pound of carrots. I did not peel them. They're ready to go. So what I'll do is I'm going to start by putting just enough water on the potatoes and carrots, put them on the stove and get them boiling. And once they are almost tender, I'll add my broccoli and my cauliflower to it for it to finish cooking. And once they're all done, at some point I'll also add, oh, I've got this stuff all over the place here. I'll add onions. It called for spring onions, so I'll probably add this in while I'm boiling the stuff. I might toss it in here now because the spring onions would have gone in last because they didn't have to cook as long. But regular onions can just be thrown in there. And the reason I'm using this instead of spring onions, two reasons. I don't have any spring onions and I wasn't going to buy them just for this, but I did have some onions that needed to be used. So in the spirit of not being wasteful, that's what I did. Also, once I get this done, I will do the crust and I will try to record that process. So I am gonna put this on the stove and get it boiling, and my eyes are really, really watery from the onions. So I'll be back. All right, for the crust, I put 8 ounces of whole wheat flour with 3 ounces of a mixture of margarine and butter. Basically, the recipe just says 3 ounces of some type of fat, and that's what I had. So I put those in there, and then I used my pastry blender on my mixer to cut the fat, the very cold fat, into the flour. All right, once that had mixed, I added in 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Next, I added 4 ounces of mashed potatoes and let that combine. To mix it together, I added in milk. Now, the recipe calls for water, but I had a little extra milk and I thought that might add a little richness to the crust. So I just poured in tiny amounts of cold milk until I had it formed into a dough. Then once I had the dough, I rolled it out and got it ready for my pan. While I was doing this, the vegetables were cooking, and to the vegetables I added 2 teaspoons of bouillon powder, a tablespoon of rolled oats, and a little bit of parsley, and that gave them so much good flavor, and the oats helped to thicken it a bit. All right, time for the filling. Once the vegetables were fully tender, I drained them as best I could with a slotted spoon, and then filled the pie crust as full as I could get it, and I did not use all of the filling for it because it was a little bit too much for that pan size, but I did eat that later. All right, time to top it with the topper. And when I was trying to come up with a design that I wanted to do for it, I put a W, which was kind of funny because I did that for Woolton just to be funny. And my daughter was watching me and she kept saying, "Mom, are you putting a W for Walter?" Because Walter is my husband's name. And I said, "Well, it would work for Walter, but it's actually for Woolton." So then we got cookie cutters out and I made little star shapes to go on it because I just thought that would make it a little prettier. The finished product was absolutely beautiful and delicious, and I used the leftover crust to make some little blueberry tarts, and they were delicious.